Hello my crafty peeps, it's Cheyenne from ECDesignStudios.com. I'm going to be making a pretty quick and simple card with you today. A lot of it's going to be focusing on the background technique that's going to give it that wow factor. So let's get to it. Alright, things we're going to need is the Designer's Tea Celebration stamp set. You can get this stamp set through March 31st for any $50 purchase. So you purchase $50 and you get to choose an item from the Sale-a-bration brochure, so you can choose this. So we're going to use the Have It, Eat It, Do It All stamp, and we're also going to use the Happy Birthday stamp. So this is a really fun, good sentiment stamp set, and it does coordinate with the Designer Tea bundle from the Occasions catalog if you happen to have it. Alright, we're going to be using a black card base today, so it's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So go ahead and get that folded. Alright, question, when you score it, where do you fold it? You score it, so the inside, it's going to be the side that you pop out. So you go ahead and you score this, you flip it over, and then you would fold it. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. It's a little nicer for the edge of the paper and the fibers in the paper, and you know, there's science, I say. Alright, you're going to need 2 pieces of 4 by 5 1/4 paper. Because we're using black, we're going to need one for the inside, which I'm actually going to have to cut down. So yeah, you're going to want one for the inside, and we're going to use one for the card base. We're going to cut both of those down so you do actually see an edge to it. I was just cutting them fast. So actually, nope, none of them are cut down. So I'll have to do that. And let's see, what else? We are going to use the Hexagon Dynamic Textured Impressions Embossing folder. Think that's the whole name. But if you haven't used any of the dynamic folders, this one is wonderful and gorgeous. You can use, either side of the impression, the embossed or the debossed. So, one side you're getting more of like a faceted jewel, hexagon, nut sort of shape, and the other side it's more like a honeycomb or chicken wire sort of effect. So that's really fun that you can get both sides. You're going to need stitched shapes framelits. I really love these. I think if you have a big shot, if you're wanting to start your framelit collections, this is a good set to start with because it just gives so much to your products, like really simply. Just having that little stitched detail is fantastic. So this is the, you've got the largest square, this is the next one down. Alright, we're going to use some of the gold metallic ribbon from Sale-a-bration Catalog 2. So it comes in a duo, gold and silver. So again, $50, and you can, pick these from the Sale-a-bration brochure. And Archival Basic Black, Tempting Turquoise, ooh, I'm throwing them, Daffodil Delight, and Wild Wasabi. I wanted to do maybe a card that I could give to a guy without him feeling, strange about it. We're going to use our Sponge Brayers. I love these. And you're going to need snail and dimensionals, and yeah, let's go ahead and get going. Okay, so the first step we're going to do is we're going to take one of our 4 by 5 1/4 sheets of paper, and I'm actually going to get a piece of scrap paper here. So it's just our Stampin' Up! Grid paper. I love working on this. You see it in most of my videos. And we're going to go ahead and open up all of our inks. So I'm just going to do a nice little gradiated sort of effect. So I've got blue and green, and I've got yellow in between because these colors can go back and forth into each other. You want to be careful what colors you're blending next to each other because you could end up making brown. So just a little bit of color theory with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and take my lightest color first. Now this is going to go in the middle, so I'm going to, just push down, ink this up. Make sure when you're using the brayer, you're pushing down and then lifting up. So, if you just go back and forth, you're only getting a small portion of the brayer inked up. So you really want to make sure you're pushing it completely around. So I'm just going to go in the middle and we're just going to start inking it up. And as there's less ink on my brayer, let me zoom in a little bit. So most of the ink is right here in the center, but as there's less ink, I am kind of moving it up and down to kind of soften that gradation a little bit. I'm just going to go in a little bit at this angle. It's kind of like when you're doing your eyeshadow. Again, a little bit. Kind of blending in that line. Blend it in. I'm starting to feel like Bob Ross now, which is great. He was wonderful. I love Bob Ross. His videos always make me happy. Alright, so now I'm going to kind of go off to the side and get some of that yellow off. And I think I'm going to do, well, since I've already got some ink going on the bottom, the blue. So let's go ahead and do the blue. You just can't, it's not a good day unless you've got ink on your fingers, right? So again, I'm just going to ink it up. And it's not going to seem like it's really doing anything, but trust me, the ink is there. So now, again, just getting my ink down there, and you control how much ink is going to go on there. You know, and I'm getting my blend going at different angles. It's not just Tim Holtz that can do this. We can do it too. And again, when you're working with the brayer, just like when you're inking it up, you want to lift it up too to get more of that ink. But sometimes it's okay to just go over it like that, because then you know you're not going to get too much ink too. And lighten up your pressure too. Like if you're blending, like don't push down too hard. Just get a nice little soft flow going. This is a technique you're going to have to, you know, kind of practice and get the feel for. But it's okay. It's totally worth it. You know, it's okay to just have a day where you go in and you play with the stuff in your craft room, your craft supply, your art supply. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Love it. Love it. Love it. Look at that gorgeous, gorgeous blend. Seriously, I'm really starting to feel like Bob Ross. Bob Ross. We need some happy little trees and content little mountains. Alright, so now I'm going to pick up the Wild Wasabi and we're going to do it on the bottom. And again, inking it up good. Make sure, I'm actually going to go ahead and take a paper towel just so I can make sure I'm not going to get fingerprints everywhere. Just going to go. Now again, depending on how much pressure you're putting down, it's going to determine how solid it is. You're going at different angles. You're going to have to work it a little bit. You have to do that with any sort of blending. It's all about building layers, right? You know, making it soft. Okay, so there is our finished ink blending. Think of all the possibilities, you know, all the different color combinations that you could do for this. Like this was just 3 colors. And I would say, you know, kind of aim for 3 colors at first and make sure you have one that can transition, you know, both colors and stuff. Have fun with this. This is a fun technique. Do an entire rainbow. Like, it's okay. It's only paper and ink. You know, have fun with it. Now, the sponge brayers, To clean these off, all you need to do is take them to your sink and rinse them off, maybe add a little bit of soap to it, and then let them dry, and then you can reuse them. They will probably stain. It's okay. That doesn't mean there's ink still on them. They're just, you know, the pigment in the ink will stain everything, just like, you know, anything else, like Kool-Aid. You drink Kool-Aid and your tongue gets stained. All right, so I had to get a little water there. So, man, this looks so much smoother in real life. But anyway, I love it. I love it. No, it's not just the distress inks that can do it. All right, so let's go ahead and start inking other things. All right, I've already got, all right, so we folded our card base, and I went ahead and adhered the center bit to it. So I've got the happy birthday. I'm going to make sure it's right. I'm going to go ahead and set it down because it can kind of bend, and go ahead and pick it up with the stamp so it's straight. And you can then pick like any of the 3 colors or basic black to go ahead and stamp in. I'm going to go ahead and do Tempting Turquoise. Get that inked up, and we're going to go ahead. Now, you see where it's all on the edges? This is why we don't want to rock it. If I rock it, I'm going to get all of that on the edges. You also want to be careful with how hard you stamp it too. Otherwise, you're going to get it on the edges. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and hope and pray that it ends up straight. And there we go. We've got our happy birthday. Isn't that fun? And then you have plenty of room to write your sentiment and sign it, and, you know, it's just a cute little card. All right, so that's that. And actually, we can go ahead. Let me make sure my fingers aren't inky. Ooh, there we go. All right, and then we're going to take our snail adhesive and go ahead and adhere our ink blending piece onto the front of our card here. Let me zoom y'all out a little bit. There we go. So we're just going to pop that on there, and you see how the black really pops up those colors and gives it that va-va-va-voom. All right, so let's get our Have It, Eat It, Do It All, and a scrap piece of Whisper White. Oh, here it is. Blends right in because, you know, it's white. And we're going to use, actually we could use any of the colors because it is Whisper White, but I'm going to go ahead and use the Basic Black Archival because I kind of do want it to pop a little bit. So, and I'm going to be cutting it out with, oh, I was going to do the hexagon effect. Let me see if I can salvage that. So I'm going to be cutting out using the stitch shapes. So I'm just going to kind of pop it on there, use it as kind of a guide so I can center it up. And there we go. And then that'll be cut out. So, all right, fingers crossed, everyone, that I can pull this up and that it hasn't like fully adhered down. Yep, okay. Whew. I can show you the full technique that I had in mind. See what happens when you're just not feeling well? Like I do totally feel like I'm not completely with it right now. But kind of feel like anytime you have sinus pressure, you end up with that. Alright, so we've got our big shot. Now this does have adhesive on the back. So if you made my mistake, then, you know, you're going to have to, you know, be conscious of that. So to use these dynamic impression plates, we're going to need, alright, so we've got the standard Big Shot platform, so that goes down. Because these are thicker embossing folders, you don't need 2 cutting plates to go with this. So I'm just going to make sure, yep, alright, so get it facing the side that you want. So this side has the little indents in it in the center, which means that it's going to be pushed through and popped up. So I want it to be on that side. Line it up, close it up. So then we're just going to put it on, put our top cutting plate on. You do still need the top cutting plate, and we're going to run this through, and we are going to get a gorgeous, gorgeous dynamic impression once we get it off with the adhesive. It'll be a lot easier to get off not using the adhesive and pushing that through. So look at that. I mean, didn't that just embossing folders, heat embossing. These are things that you can, you know, purchase and just voila. I mean, totally, totally. All right, so because I've already got adhesive on the back of this, I want to go ahead and re-adhesive it. Make sure now at this point that you're getting enough adhesive on it because there is dimensions. So the actual surface area that's going to be connecting with whatever you're adhering it to, it's less. So you're going to want to add more adhesive to this point. So now we're just going to pop it on. See, there we go. Didn't that just like take it from like here to like here, like wow? Yeah, all right. So while I have, no, let's go ahead and use the platform. I very rarely use the actual platform that comes with it. Really, I'm finding the only thing that I have been using it for is the dynamic embossing because I have my magnetic platform that I just love. All right, so we've got our sentiment here and our stitch shape. Now, the reason I tend to use the magnetic is if I have this on the magnetic platform, this is adhering. I don't have to worry about it shifting and moving. I'm a little concerned now, but it can happen. You can do it. You just have to be careful. So I'm just running it through. Oh, I remember also why I use it. Because you need the little thin die adapter. So, alright, I'm not sure where that is right now. So let's go back to the magnetic platform. We'll just stick with what I know works. Alright, so let's try this again. So you can see, like, let me show you. So it's there. I'm going to flip it over. It's flipped over. It's still there. Love it. Love it. That's the advantage. It's not going to wiggle around on you. But, run it through, and then we're going to have this beautiful, gorgeous, stitched shape. Look at that little extra stitching. That's one of those other, like, quick, easy things. Like, you know, let the tools do the work for you. Let it give it that pow wow effect. All right, so putting the big shot and everything out of the way. We're done with that. All right, now we're going to take, I probably should have adhered this down too before, but you know, sometimes you just gotta be crazy with it. All right, I'm just gonna trim off just a little bit extra so we have some room to work with. All right, now I'm actually going to use the liquid glue. I'm gonna get it going. Apply some to the back. Y'all don't see me do this too much because usually I just use the cheater method. So I've got the glue on. We're just going to pop it down there. There we go. I kind of like it going like more towards the edge. So that's what I'm going to kind of aim for, and then just trim off that little end bit. And since we're using the liquid glue on that, it will kind of glue together those ends. But it's also a card, so as long as it makes it through the mail and to the recipient, it's all right. So let's get some dimensionals and pop them on the back of our sentiment. Get the backings off, wrestle with them a little bit. Because it's one of those days, right? Yep. Alright, and we're just going to pop that right on there. And there we go. If you wanted to, you could add like a little bit of wink of Sela to this, or some of the, oh, I forget what they're called. They're like stickles in gold and silver. Little, you know, fabric glue sort of deal. Can't remember what it's called. Having a moment right now, and you can add it to it. But that's it for our simple card. Like, the hardest part was, you know, the background ink blending, and even that wasn't that hard. Again, you've got to play with it. You've got to practice it in order to really get it smooth. But that's true with anything, right? So here's today's quick and easy card. Oh, thank you so much for watching. Remember, a full list of products used can be found on the coordinating blog post. A link to that will be in the description bar below. Remember to like and subscribe if you like my videos and you want to see more. If you're already a subscriber, so good to see you come back again and again. Love having you visit. Links to all current Stampin' Up! Catalogs can also be found on my blog, ecdesignstudios.com. It's just right over on that right-hand side. You can shop 24/7 at my Stampin' Up! Online store, ecdesignstudios.stampinup.net. Links to that is in the description bar. All right, March 31st, that is the end for celebration. So if you want to take advantage and get the stamp set or the ribbon, you've got to go ahead and do that. Every $50, you get to pick one celebration item from the celebration brochure. So it's a great time to buy Stampin' Up! Stuff because you get free stuff from it. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.